their dream became our dream, really, and the dream of others who followed us.
I was at the meeting then where they suggested names, and there was only very few names came up, and then Ingrid van der Woude, she came up with the name Genesis. She said, Genesis is the beginning of the Bible, she said, and we are at the beginning of a new era here. Everybody was very happy to stick to the name Genesis Christian College.
First day of school, very nerve-wracking because everything we had borrowed, or not begged, but we had to borrow a lot of things. So everything was second-hand. We had the principal and one teacher, Jane Nyhouse at the time.
So there was Bob Van Veen, who was principal at Calvin in Tasmania. So he came up to be the principal, and then I came up as the first teacher. So he taught years 4 to 7, and I taught years 1 to 3. We had Wonder Mountable, and that was split into 2 classrooms. Very basic, but very functional, and the toilets were horse stables, transferred into toilets, and I think a very simple playground, and the rest was bush, and the kids had great fun.
We were housed in the church. There was 1 tutor mountables, so I was a teaching principal. I taught for 3 days. I taught a composite, and then 2 days for being principal. And there were petitions up in the church during the week, and the staff were so dedicated. They sacrificed financially. On Friday afternoons they would pack up everything and put it away so that the church could meet on Sundays. The vision, the sacrifice and the commitment of the families of those first students was amazing, because we had people who said, you're not going to make it, you don't have the resources, you don't have the equipment. It was an amazing first 2 years. The teaching staff wrote all the curriculum. They would spend weekends here. They were pioneering days. They built their own equipment. They bought the equipment out of their own pocket money.
Sports days and sporting carnivals, and parents would come at the crack of dawn and help set things up, and cross countries where you'd have parents dotted around the neighbourhood, because that's what our cross country track was. We would leave the oval and run around the oval once, and then leave the school grounds and out into the streets and kind of like around the block a couple of times. And so you'd have parents dotted around the streets waiting for kids to go past and making sure they all went past. So they really pitched in a lot.
We had planned for it to be an 800 student school, probably because our site was sort of smaller, and maybe that was a limiting factor, but it was always in our head that it was sort of like 800, but to get to sort of 1500, 1600 was like, oh, amazing. No, we'd never sort of envisaged that, but obviously God had other plans. So.
Big time.
For me, I think it's the sense of community. I think whether it was the pool or the dance and drama academies, the childcare centre, it became a community, the Genesis community. I think it was always there, but with growth, there was the challenge of people remembering it as a small school and what was going to be lost. I don't think any of that got lost. I think there's still, I see the Facebook page of the parents, there's still a strong sense of community and the things that they value.
Yeah, I think you only have to look around to see God's obvious blessing on the college. I always like to look at the aerial shots over the years, because you just see the way in which the college kind of grew and the way the facilities expanded, and now today, I mean, the facilities are just amazing. But it's not just about the facilities, I think it's about the reputation of the college as well. I think Genesis is a school that parents want to send their kids to. They know they're going to get a great education, they're going to have great opportunities, and they know they're going to have their character formed as well, and ultimately be introduced to Christ, which is why we do what we do, and what we want to continue to do into the future.
From those early days, Genesis desired to be a school of care, a space of acceptance, a space that would clearly teach the principles of God's Word to the next generation coming through. And that is front and centre as a part of our vision for our college today. And we have such a wonderful opportunity to continue to nurture and develop and equip our young people for their future.
It's just almost a miracle that we've gone from that to this in just 30 years. And you think, I couldn't have done it without the prayer and the support and God's blessing. It rained down on this school, and you feel that. So I did a tour 25, 27 years ago for 10 minutes. I do a tour these days that can take an hour and a half, 2 hours, because of the amazing things that you see. But they're still essentially the same amazing things. God's blessing on Christian education.